Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel of Conscious History, where we will unveil the hidden truths of the past. When we think of world explorers, people in history who traveled to the far corners of the earth, we probably think of Marco Polo, the Venetian merchant who traveled all the way from Europe to Asia. We think of Vasco da Gama, the explorer who visited the Cape of Good Hope and traveled to India. And lastly, Christopher Columbus, the man who discovered the United States of America. But among the greatest world explorers of all time, there is one name that is less publicly known. A story about a young Moroccan man who wanted to visit the spiritual heart of Islam. And while doing so, he fell in love with traveling and learning about the world. His mission in life was to learn about the world so that future generations could benefit from his actions. This sacrifice would eventually lead him to sit among the greatest world explorers of all time. We are talking about Ibn Battuta, the Moroccan world explorer. In this video, we will show you how one man believed deeply in his faith and how this faith ultimately guided him to greatness. If you like our content, like and subscribe to our channel and travel with us through the eyes of Ibn Battuta into the unknown. Ibn Battuta was born in the 14th century in Tangier, Morocco. He was born into a wealthy family of Islamic scholars who could afford the Hajj, or pilgrimage to Mecca. Due to his learning capabilities, he studied Islamic law, which eventually led him to become a Qadi, or Islamic judge. Because of his love and dedication to his religion, at the age of 21, Ibn Battuta had a desire to visit the heart of Islam, the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. When he embarked on his pilgrimage, he had no idea that he would return to Morocco, his home, around 29 years later. During his first pilgrimage, Ibn Battuta planted the first seed of why he left Morocco. Since he was a Qadi, he could offer his knowledge about Islam to other rulers and inspire many by showcasing that he was undertaking a pilgrimage alone at such a young age. He joined the caravan, traveled through Alexandria to Cairo, and spent the holy month of Ramadan in Damascus. Eventually, after traveling 810 miles, he reached Medina. Here, he visited the Prophet's mosque, and after 4 days, he visited Mecca, where he completed his first pilgrimage. Being closely connected with his religion ignited a flame within him. During the pilgrimage to Mecca, he encountered many different cultures and helped numerous people find the right path of Islam. This fire ignited a small flame that would eventually become his life mission: to travel the world, teach others the right path of Islam, and from all his experiences, educate future generations about what the world has to offer. "I left my homeland like birds leave their nest," he would later recall. He spread his wings and learned through the art of experience. When he traveled through the Sahara, there were moments when he had no water, when he had to remain constantly alert for scorpion or snake attacks. There were moments when the temperature was so cold that his companions had to wrap several layers of clothing around him, and he still could barely feel his hands while moving forward on his camel. When he visited Constantinople and inspired and advised many cultures along his journey, his love for reaching various parts of the world only increased. By experiencing different cultures and religions, he only desired to see more of what the world had to offer. He initially intended to take the Silk Road trade route to India. But after being attacked by bandits and nearly losing his life multiple times to sickness, he opted for a different route. He participated in the Hajj 2 more times and was prepared to bring Islamic knowledge from Mecca to the rest of the world, eventually ending up in India. He would travel through the Golden Horde realm and through the mountain passes of the Hindu Kush. A man who was born in a country that holds the Sahara Desert never experienced such intense coldness in his life. After overcoming and surviving several food poisonings and fevers, he made it to Delhi and was introduced to Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The Sultan was known as the wealthiest man in the Muslim world at that time and was greatly honored that a wise Qadi like Ibn Battuta visited him. Apparently, he showered him with gifts. But Ibn Battuta was a modest man who found richness in following his religion. After learning about the different cultures in India and sharing the beauty of the Kaaba with Muslims, he had fire in his eyes to explore the rest of Asia. The Sultan asked him to lead a pilgrimage to China while he would deliver the Sultan's treasure as a sign of respect. At the beginning of the journey to China, Ibn Battuta was robbed, kidnapped, and nearly lost his life. Relying on his fate, he managed to catch up to the group 10 days later and went to Calicut. Now let's talk about a remarkable moment in his life. When he was in Calicut, he visited a mosque on the coast. Exactly during that moment, a big storm arose, causing the seamen to worry. Because of the storm causing panic and chaos, the 2 ships thought everyone was aboard the ship and left without Ibn Battuta. This would save his life, since one ship would sink because of the storm and the other one would be seized months later. After this, he visited the Maldives Islands, where he worked as an Islamic judge for 9 months. From there, he went to Sri Lanka, but his ship was attacked by pirates, which caused him to be stranded ashore. Therefore, he managed to find his way back to the Maldives Islands, from which he traveled from modern-day Bangladesh to the island of Sumatra. In Sumatra, he noticed the richness of camphor, areca nut, cloves, and tin. From Sumatra, he traveled to Java, where he saw supreme defense systems against piracy. From the kingdom of Champa, he finally reached the other end of the world, China. Here, he praised the portraits that were made for newly arrived foreigners, which were also used for security purposes. He also praised their craftsmanship of silk and porcelain, as well as the advantages of paper money. In China, he saw the beautiful nature and the different cultures. But since diversity was so big, he once stated, "Whenever I saw Muslims, I always felt as though I were meeting my own family." Ibn Battuta traveled half the world, faced many dangers, and helped as many people as he could. His book of travels felt complete. He was ready to go home. He had seen the moon and the stars from different sides of the world, but eventually he only wanted to see the star from his country. When we talk about do good and good will come to you, this reflects the rest of Ibn Battuta's life. He had a fire inside of him that would not dim. During his travels back to Morocco, the Black Plague, otherwise known as the Black Death, was claiming the lives of people everywhere he went. On his way back, he counted his blessings by making a 4th pilgrimage to Mecca. After traveling to the far corners of the earth for 29 years, Ibn Battuta finally returned home. After traveling more than 62,000 miles, he returned home to Morocco. Here, the Sultan of Morocco asked him to allow the historian Ibn Battuta to document his travels and experiences. This eventually led to the book Rila, otherwise known as the Travels of Ibn Battuta. This book provided insight into African and Asian travel, culture, religion, and trade. From Timbuktu to his pilgrimages to Mecca, Constantinople, the Silk Road trade, India, Indonesia, and eventually China. Because of his travels, he earned a place among the greatest world travelers of all time. When we talk about greatness in a person, we can see it in the way they showcase it through their humility. When we look into Ibn Battuta's motive to travel, it is said the following. His motive for traveling the world was the accumulation of what in Arabic is called baraka, the blessing in both this world and the next, which would come from visiting holy places and obtaining the blessings of saintly men. Ibn Battuta was guided by faith, and that faith would eventually lead him to become our guide, showcasing to us the world. Did you know of the Moroccan world explorer Ibn Battuta? What are your thoughts on the fact that he traveled to the other half of the world in a time without modern comforts, and the fact that each time he visited the holy city of Mecca, it increased the will of Ibn Battuta to travel further and help and understand others around him? Leave me your answers below in the comments, and if you like our content, like and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell if you want to see more in-depth history videos. We love making these videos. See you next time at Conscious History.